What if our mind could go and heal the body from diseases? We are talking about the power of self-healing and how this practice can improve us and increase our awareness. If we observe nature, we realize that these mechanisms already exist. Just think of the wild animals that do not receive veterinary care and yet find a way to heal and continue on their journey. Thanks to the Buddhist story inspired by Master Kaido in this video, we will see how we can heal from illnesses thanks to the strength of our mind and what habits we can follow to achieve this goal. So stay with us until the end to find important ideas for your inner growth and your spiritual research that will guide you on the simple and introspective path of self-healing and its 1,000 benefits. Before continuing, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share the video. In this way, you will help us produce valuable content every day from which you can take inspiration for your spiritual growth. Let's go back to Master Kaido. We find ourselves in the heart of this ancient monastery where he was about to start his conference on the art of healing oneself. There was a lot of energy in the air, and it made everything engaging. The incense that filtered through the ancient windows made the environment magical and enveloping, and the people present in the room were preparing to listen to the words of the sage while remaining in respectful silence. Master Kaido began his speech. I have always wondered how a person can achieve the ability to heal himself from the disease that afflicts his body. Have you ever thought about how this can happen? All those present, still in silence, awaited the answer to this fundamental question. They were there waiting with their doubts, their skepticism, and their hypotheses, but all, in common, had the desire to learn this important lesson. I'm sure you're thinking that if it were really possible to treat yourself in this way, hospitals would close and there wouldn't be professionals like doctors or nurses, or medicines wouldn't have been invented. To dismantle this objection, the master began to tell the story of Hana, a young woman, his disciple, who a few months earlier had gone to the monastery to talk to him and ask for help. The woman had fragile health, but a courageous heart. So Master Kaido asked her, "Do you have enough faith to believe that you can cure your illness?" It was a simple but fundamental question for the work they were going to do. This question was followed by a silence that suggested that the woman was reflecting, so the master, interrupting the flow of her thoughts, said, "The answer that represents the key is to have faith in yourself." Most people do not believe that their body has the ability to heal, and so have always depended on drugs or doctors for any type of problem and are constantly looking for a simple solution. Everyone was enraptured by the master's words to such an extent that the listeners had caused 1,000 thoughts and doubts to grow within them. Kaido, the wise man, however, continued to describe Hana's introspective path, a path that had allowed her to get closer to self-healing. The first thing to do is learn to read your body's signals. You have to become even more sensitive and aware than you already are. You must become one with your sensations, and in this case, you must experience meditation as a fundamental means towards this awareness that you are looking for. Only in this way will you understand what your body is missing. You will understand how to recognize the disease and how to practice healing. Master Kaido continued to tell how the young woman, thanks to his help and wisdom, was facing her personal journey of personal growth. The master, with a confident tone, continued to explain to the listeners how the subconscious mind is able to contain the power to heal itself and the body. Before sleeping, the moment you close your eyes, you must be aware that your illness can be cured and gradually removed. You can compare it to a garden full of flowers that must bloom during the night. Those present were immersed in the master's stories, and everyone, in their own way, saw themselves in Hana's story. At this point, Kaido asked them to visualize their healing as they would the road of a long journey. Your mind will attract what you have visualized into the path you are imagining you are following, and the body, like its faithful companion, will follow it. There is nothing more important than believing and having faith. This is the true secret of healing through self-image and the visualization process. So how is it possible to practice self-healing through the power of our mind and motivation? It is essential to start practicing meditation and self-reflection, which are two means that allow us to calm down, connect with ourselves, and understand what is wrong or what we need to change. Then, once these reflections are finished, we continue with the visualization exercise. All we need to do is imagine ourselves already healed and think that the disease can go away like the snow does when the sun comes out. The mind works like this. If we imagine something and experience it with emotion, we make this image so vivid that it will seem that all this is real, and the brain will not be able to do anything but see that result as already achieved. If we grow the belief that we are already healed, we will not only remove the disease from our body, but we will also progress on our spiritual journey. This is never banal or obvious. It is a fundamental concept. Hannah's story gradually became more and more intertwined to the point that it could be compared to the roots of a tree, which altogether have the ability to make it strong and invincible, one with the earth and impossible to uproot. Kaido, at this point, began to tell about another disciple of his, a boy who decided, not long before, to embark with him on a journey of spiritual growth and search for inner peace to practice healing. This boy also embraced the practice of self-image visualization by learning to see self-healing through the power of his mind. He wasn't going through an easy period, and the negative thoughts were insistent. The first thing to do, in this case, was to take care of mental well-being and emotional balance by embracing one of the most important forms of love, the one he could feel towards himself. The master continued his story like this. When we find ourselves facing illnesses and problems, we often complain, lowering our energy level, and consequently, we begin to curse ourselves. But here, my teaching is that we must learn to love ourselves. We must love each other even when we find ourselves facing something bad or that disturbs us or that makes us uncomfortable, because those who love each other also cure their own illnesses and weaknesses. This is part of our spiritual journey. The story told by Master Kaido enveloped everyone present and filled them with emotion exactly as the brushstrokes of a painting would have done. Skepticism was finally giving way to positive thinking. After 30 days, the change in my disciple was evident. The illness was gradually receding, creating space for healing. The mind was calming, and the visualization was increasingly vivid and richer. Do you know why? Because cultivating specific positive thoughts and actions for so many consecutive days makes them a habit that can no longer be done without in the field of spiritual research. And this applies to everything. These new habits, if well cultivated, have the power to trigger an irreversible process in our mind and body, and in a very simple way, they are able to trigger something as precious as self-healing. We must have faith in ourselves. It is fundamental. Master Kaido continued and concluded this Zen story by giving one of his great teachings and a unique perspective in this field that led directly to well-being. The first thing to do, before asking for outside help, is to go and visualize and try to cure ourselves. We need to learn to know ourselves and experiment. The moment we realize that this is not possible, we ask the doctor. We must not be afraid, because in that moment, in fact, our faith will be put to the test and we will need help and assistance external to our being. This Buddhist story was capturing the attention of everyone present. The master added, believing in yourself is the best gift you can give yourself in your entire life. Follow what I told you, visualize, and after a month begin to pay attention to everything that has changed in you. Observe the evolution of your being. Don't just focus on the healing of the body, but also on the healing of the soul, because it is equally important for your inner balance. Go and experience, because your spirituality is unique. You all have different stories and have faced different difficulties. You must welcome them, understand them, and only then push them away with the strength of your mind. Do this exercise every night before sleeping. Be the creators of your own well-being and immerse yourself in your personal path of spiritual growth by setting yourself goals and arrival points. Kaido slowly stood up. All the attention was still focused on him, but at the same time, the listeners were immersed in 1,000 reflections. Walking, the wise man followed the path that the light traced through the windows. What is the lesson to be learned? Healing can be compared to a path that we must not fear to start and follow because we have with us the faith which represents a precious beacon capable of illuminating the way. Through powerful practices such as meditation, self-reflection, and visualization, it is truly possible to practice self-healing by placing ourselves and our understanding of our being first. To succeed on this path, it is necessary to delve deeper into these themes and work on them with consistency and trust, with commitment and perseverance without ever abandoning the path we have chosen to follow. Let us be supported and guided by people with experience who can safely accompany us on this journey and who, step by step, can pass on their teachings to us.